Today I'm going to be talking to you about a thing called product architecture. It sounds a bit markety and a bit wanky, but it's a really important thing for your business. What I'm finding dealing with people, especially on the Central Coast, is they're so busy bum up, head down trying to make money that they're actually not covering off some of the basic things that will make their life a lot more easy for them. A product architecture is very, very simply how you engage with a customer and then how you expose them to all the different products that you've got in your business. Now, anyone who's involved in internet marketing is familiar with the internet funnel. We hear a sales funnel where you get people in at the top and you take them down and down more narrower. I got bored with that as a graphic, so the form I'm going to give you, it doesn't look like a funnel. It looks a bit different. But the idea is the same. Google did some research. In fact, they spent nearly 6 years doing research on how to get people to buy. And what they found out was every business, you have to have 7 touch points with clients before people will buy from you. They don't have to be good touch points. They just have to actually have some touch point with you for 7 times. So that can be 7 emails, seeing someone like me talk like this 7 times. It can be having a cup of coffee. It can be seeing an ad. But 7 touch points tends to be what is needed for people to buy from you. In terms of getting people to trust you if you provide professional services, they found you need 7 hours. And that 7 hours again can be made up from talks, having a coffee, watching a video, or even reading something someone's given you, as long as you invest 7 hours. So 7 seems to be the magical number. And if you're looking at pricing at the moment, the hot number to use is end things in 7, where we used to see $49.99, you now see $47. You see $97 instead of $99.99. For some reason, 7's become the real magical number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give out this sales model to you all. And you're actually going to do some work today. Everyone's going to do some work. And I'll just explain the categories. When you're building a product architecture, what you need to do is you need to firstly engage with your customers. Then you've got to provide them with what's called a salty appetizer. Salty appetizer comes from the term of those of us who are old enough to remember when you went to the pub and they used to have the bowls of peanuts that were really salty and they were there to make your first increase. That's a salty appetizer. And then after that, you need to go to your core offering, which you can actually set up 3 levels. Gold, silver, bronze is the most common of that. And then there's the next level or the logical next step. So if we have a look at the first one's engage. How do you engage with a client? Your engagement product, and it is a product, should be free or it should be low cost. If I use my business as an example, I have a thing where people, if they buy me a cup of coffee, I'll give you half an hour of my time and some strategies for your business. So that costs you $3.50. That's essentially free. So that's an engagement model. You might have a website where people leave their name and address or their email address and they get a free report. You might give people a free report. You might give people a free talk like this. That's what an engagement model is. It's something where people get exposed to you. So take a couple of seconds right now and see if you can think of what is something free you can give away in your business to engage with your clients. Now, it might be something as simple as a brochure. It might be a short video that they can watch on your website. It might be a free report. But what have you got that you can give away to clients for free to engage them in your business? Now, some of you might have more than one. Some of you might have several. Some of you might deliberately have more than one. It doesn't matter too much. Obviously, the more you have, the more you can attract different types of people or clients. So what we're going to do is we're going to just fill in the architecture as we go through each one, and then we're going to ask some of you to actually tell us what each of the things are that you've got. So that's the engagement part, is free. The next part is a salty appetizer. A salty appetizer is a product or a service you provide to clients that they actually pay for. They don't necessarily pay a lot for it, but they actually put some skin in the game. They actually pay for it. So if we use my business, I run a thing called a 1-day detangling program where I'll spend 8 to 10 hours at your business with you, pulling your business apart and putting it back together. And I charge, in Sydney I get $2,500 a day for that. Up here I charge under $2,000. So that's not super expensive for what you get. It's not the same price as my core product, but it's enough for people to put some skin in the game to engage with you. $2,500 a day, $1,800. So, but what it does is it gives people exposure to you, hopefully over a period of time where they go, yeah, I like what they do, and they're primed and ready to move to your next product. Or they go, that's fine, I've learned what I need, I've got what I want, it's not right for me. But the bottom line is you invest some time and effort, and hopefully it's a salty appetizer. They like what you do enough that they want to take the next step. So that's the next step to fill in there. What have you got that you can provide to your clients where they pay you some money that's going to expose them to your skills and your business in such a way that they'll get value from it, but they're also going to want to take the next step? For those of you who provide some form of professional personal services, this is quite easy. If you sell physical products, it's a bit more difficult. But in your case, Matt, it could be a starter pack. You give them a starter pack of your Easy Grow home garden thing, which isn't your full pack, but it's enough to expose them and get them used to it. All right. You could offer to do a vanity splashback for people for a low price as opposed to doing the full bathroom with a full kitchen. So there are ways and means if you've got a physical product to get round it. And it's a really good idea if at this level you can have more than one salty appetizer for your business. So again, in my business I do the detangling days, I also do marketing audits, I do cultural audits of businesses, I also put together ad campaigns for people, last one was solicitors. So there's 3 or 4 different products that I've got depending on the client that I'm talking to that I can offer to them to get them interested in the next level. So again, every one of you here should have at least 2 salty appetizers. All right. And then of course, if your salty appetizers work well and you've given them good value and they've liked you and they thought, gee, they're really good at what they do, that's when you get to your core offering. Now your core offering is your main product. It's the main thing that you sell or the main service that you provide for your clientele. Now a lot of people take their core offering and they split it into 3. They split into a gold, silver or bronze package, which is the most popular. You'll see that a lot on internet products when you go to buy them. They'll offer you 3 choices. Usually on the internet they start with the low price and go to the high price, which is wrong. You should always start with the high price, which sets an expectation in people's mind, and then go to the medium price, then go to the low price. All the research, Google again shows that if you mention 3 products with 3 prices and start with the high price, your sales of that will increase by 12% and the low price one stays the same. So you're going to make more money. Just something as simple as swapping the position when you put them. So how do you build a gold, silver, bronze package? Gold, silver, bronze is quite simply you take your bronze as being the core offering, the guts of what you offer to customers. Silver, you add a few more parts to it, and gold is absolutely everything you can put in there, including the kitchen sink. So in my case, I run a thing called the cruise control system for small business. There's 3 formulas in it. There's clarity, command, and there's cruise control. My bronze offering would be clarity, because everyone does that. My silver offering would be clarity and command, and my gold offering is the actual small business cruise control system. So there's 3 levels and people can engage at those. Your core offering product for most of us who provide services to people should be priced above $1,500. $2,000 is probably better. If it's physical product, it's about the main thing you provide to people. So if you do kitchen and bathroom splashbacks, how much you charge depends on how big the job is. I get that. But then for you, you talk about the type of materials. So your gold package might be a particular type of material, your silver package is a lesser material, and your bronze one's a basic material. But you can offer the client 3 prices for the same job based on the types of materials. Matt, you can grow things purely and simply by the size of the amount of product you're offering to people. They can have a very basic, a bronze one might be the 3 basic herbs that people have, rosemary, thyme and mint. The next one's a few more herbs, and the last one is lots. So again, your core offering is offering people the ability to grow herbs at home, but you can actually stagger that over 3 depending on how much is included in them. Same thing with Paul in your business. Whilst there's ethical considerations and care and all that sort of stuff, what you offer to people as a service, whether it be in family law disputes or whatever, there are probably ways that you can stagger it that way. There would be a basic offering that would be in everyone, and you add a few more services on top so you can still do gold, silver, bronze. That's your core product. That's the thing you want to be known for. That's the thing you enjoy providing the most of, and that's the thing that gives the most value to your clients. And the very last level is the thing called the next level, or you can call it the logical next step. So someone's come along, they've bought your splashback for their kitchen, they love it. What's the next thing you can sell them? What's the next step? This is what you need to be thinking about. I've provided my service, but where do I go from here with the customer? Because I've engaged them, they've tried my services through a salty appetizer, they've now taken up my core product. Where do I go now? Do I just leave them and walk away? Or how do I keep that client involved? A lot of people that do coaching and speaking, what they would do, their logical next step would be they'd be setting up a mastermind group where people would meet once a month online or something like that, which is quite easy. For the accounting area, the logical next step is to set up probably a bi-monthly health check. Just something to keep that touch going. Remember, it's 7 touch points before they buy. Once they've bought, you want to keep people fresh. So your logical next step might be providing an additional level of service or something that only they can get. If you're in the same sort of business that Deb and I are in, what you'd be doing is you'd be trying to get people together in a room and trying to get them to talk and help each other and build one another's businesses, and you'd facilitate that. So your logical next step. So think about your business. What's your logical next step? Where would you go after a client has bought, purchased and used your core business, your core offering? Where do you take them from here?
Some people would have to, like Paul in Paul's case, once he's finished their divorce, he says, oh, go get married and come back again.
Yeah, or else... well, you know, the logical next step for someone like Paul might be offering divorce parties. I mean, you know, it could be. I know a photographer who does a photo booth at divorce parties, actually. Yeah, so it's about thinking about that. The usual refer to someone else, or the usual thing is it's about, especially if you're a service provider, it's about staying in touch and offering something to stay in touch. The example I used with Grant about going to a bi-monthly numbers check or financial check can work. I mean, you know, for solicitors, for lawyers, it can be. In the commercial area, it's quite easy to add on extra touch points. Family law, not so much, except to get in touch and say, are you ready to talk to me again?
Well,
I don't know.
There's other things, you know, like wills or packages, you know,
Great.
that sort of stuff out.
All right.
And it's probably just keeping in touch with them, you know, like newsletters or
Yep.
social media, all that kind of thing, just to remind them.
This, in your case, ties back to what I said about salty appetizers. It's good to have more than one product to use as a salty appetizer, because you can actually use some of those products as your logical next step. So if you deal with a family law dispute, your next step might be to expose them to wills. It might be to expose them to other things like that. So take a moment and try and write down what your logical next step or your next level would be after people have used your core product. And bear in mind, your core product, your logical next step, someone might have taken the bronze level of your core product, so your logical next step is for them to actually take up the silver or the gold, to actually take up the things that weren't included in the bronze package. Okay. All right. If you're staring at a blank sheet of paper, relax, because I'm not going to ask you to stand up and talk to everyone about it. All right? Now, we can ask for volunteers 2 ways. We can do it where I say who would like to share their engagement, their salty appetizer, or we can do it army style where I'll just go you, you and you. Which would we prefer? Anyone brave enough to stand up and say, pick me? No, it's army style. Elizabeth? All right. So, should we next? So, Elizabeth, what have you got for an engagement? I'm going, just so you know, I didn't expect we were filming today, we are. So, this mic's only grabbing local, so I'm going to repeat what you're saying just so it gets captured on there.
Okay. As the engagement piece, which is specifically social media, there obviously is, and that applies to everybody, is to share information online through your Facebook, through your Google, what have you. That gets an engagement going. And personally, I have newsletters that people can subscribe to.
Yep.
It's free. And I also often, if you go to my website, I offer 20 minutes free consultation call.
So Elizabeth's got a really nice engagement package. Firstly, she deals in social media, so she's walking a talk by using social media to get lots of information out to people for free. She's then got a newsletter that people can sign up for, which they also get for free, so that's keeping the engagement going. And then she offers 20-minute free consultation. So in terms of engagement, there's 3 different ways. For free, people can get engaged and get those 7 touch points going, so that's good. Salty Appetizer?
There we have, first of all, some very small, cheap e-books, and again, that can apply to anybody because it's basic information, such as in my case, why do we need social media tools.
Yep.
Apply that to anything, almost any business, and in addition to that, I then have an audit of social media systems, which is a very smallish cost, and that gets refunded if they buy the core product.
Right. So again, with the Salty Appetizer, Elizabeth is working off a field of expertise. She provides a number of e-books based around social media skills, things like for a cheap price. Or she also offers an audit. Audits are really popular for those of us who provide professional services. You can go and audit someone's business and essentially tell them what's wrong in the area that you're an expert in. And Elizabeth's really nice in the fact that they pay her for the audit, but they go to a core product, she gives them their money back. I don't do that. You pay for my audit, that's done deal. Okay. So again, it's a good architecture because people will put some money in the game and they'll get exposed to a bit more about you. One thing just on ebooks too, at the moment, you see a lot of websites saying become a Kindle millionaire and all that sort of stuff, and they're selling Kindle books for 99 cents and $7 and all that sort of thing. All I'll say is you get what you pay for. It's a good idea for your Salty Appetizer to certainly have an ebook or something if you want people to pay for it, but I'd suggest you be pricing it somewhere around close to the $10 or the $20 mark as opposed to the 99-cent mark, because otherwise what happens is people will treat it like it's worth 99 cents and do that. Core product?
Core product I have holding your hand at those various levels.
Yep. So again, Elizabeth's core offering is actually split into 2. She's got the gold, silver, bronze version of one product, and the other product she's actually leveraging off providing that information and tying it to small business know-how online. So that's quite unusual. Most of us have one core product we focus on, but Elizabeth's business is such she can have 2 core products running in parallel, which works well. What's your next level?
Maybe at some that we can then keep on releasing, keeping people in the loop. If they haven't bought certain products, then keep on pushing.
Okay.
Basically ongoing.
So Elizabeth is actually really repeating the core product offering as the logical next step. Think about this. You've got this online course that people do. Your logical next step would be to have like an alumni or a graduate school as the logical next step. So they go through your online course, they graduate, and it's a basic course. So then your logical next step would be a more advanced course. So that's somewhere where you could lead people in quite naturally from that. All right, great, thanks. Anyone else, or do I point the finger? Sure.
Mine's sort of different. I mean, it's
Yep.
a lot cheaper than 50.
I've done some work with some psychotherapists in Sydney, and what they're actually doing is they're now pricing depending on anxiety. So it's easier to fix smoking than it is to fix weight loss. It's easier to fix this than it is to fix fear of flying. So their pricing depends upon what anxiety they're dealing with. Bear in mind too, pricing is an issue that you all need to really look at. Most Australian businesses price simply by figuring out their cost and putting 30% on them. That's called cost plus pricing. Many of us who provide professional services, we go, gee, what do I think is a fair price? And we do that as pricing. What you should be doing for your pricing is pricing based on the value you deliver to your client. Now, you can't do that because if you stop someone smoking, you've saved their life. What value do you put on a life? But you can probably charge them more than $90 an hour in order to give them their health back. So you need to think about how you do your pricing there. Same thing here. You've got to cover your costs, you've got to know your costs, but when you're valuing after that, don't just add 30% on it. Try and think of the value you're actually delivering to people and price accordingly. If you do that, 2 things happen. One is you get rid of all the tyre kickers, and you also tend to get rid of all the people who want something for nothing, because you've already looked after them in the engagement model. Salty Appetizer level, you've cleared out those people who just want to pick your brains. So when you're at the core offering side, you should be able to charge people what your services are worth.
And if people, like, who've got a particular issue to come along.
I'd suggest that a workshop for you is actually a Salty Appetizer,
Okay, yeah, a bit early, yeah.
and your logical next step would be some form of maintenance program. One of my clients is a hypnotherapist who has incredible success with stopping people smoking, and he can do it over 2 sessions, but what he's finding is most people don't turn up for the second session. So what he now does is he charges people for 3 sessions. He fixes them in 2, and if they don't turn up for the 3rd one, he's been paid and they're fixed anyway. All right? Just something as simple as that. So, again, your logical next step should be maintenance. He deals with a number of people who have fairly deep-rooted issues from childhood, and what he does is he set up a program where once every 12 weeks they pop in for a chat or a bit of reinforcement if they need it. Now, I understand with hypnotherapy, if it's fixed, it should be fixed, but it's not always fixed. So by having a maintenance program, that's his logical next step. So you can look at that. Thank you.
What you say to them, come every 12 weeks for a session or something?
Yeah, come for a session. It can be a cut price session, or you can offer them, right, here's a 12-month maintenance program. We normally charge $100 a session. There's 4 sessions, so it's, it's $300 instead of $400 to get them to come in and just to keep them in peak health mentally or whatever. So that's your logical next step, not more of the same, but something that maintains. Who here sells a physical product? I know Matt does, you don't, I know you do. So you willing to talk about your engagement? Because this works for every business, you just got to think a bit differently.
Well, I just did for engagement for free, we quote, we give them
Yep.
advertising, we give them flyers, information, samples.
So with your engagement, I'd also suggest you look at talking to someone like Bob and getting some video you can put on your website showing people how great your splashback is. Have someone throwing a bucket of water over the back of it or something like that. Have a demonstration online so people can see how effective the product is for free. What's your salty appetizer?
That we can, as you suggested, maybe give them a free display, like a free laundry or a free vanity
Yep.
to show them the product.
Okay, so again, salty appetizer, remember folks, is you're exposing them to your expertise and they're paying for it. They're not paying top dollar. So that's right. So in your case, it might be a splashback behind a laundry sink, which is only small. Okay. Your core product?
Well, we do have glass, acrylic, metaline. We have certain materials. Of course, our premium material is metaline because it has the advantage it can go behind gas cooktops and things like this,
Right.
which is the most expensive one.
So you've got gold, silver, bronze built in
Yeah,
already.
we do that,
Okay.
yes, yes.
But you can also do it in terms of adding a package. So you can say, we'll do your kitchen and your bathroom and your ensuite for a package, and that's the gold package at this one.
You have to consider that not everybody needs these.
Yeah, oh,
things.
sure, but if you've got packages, you can give people choices, or you can have a choice in terms of what you offer. So your core offering should be, for you, splashbacks, 3 types, depending on material. But you can also add a package where you can say, I'll do your kitchen and your bathroom for this in this material. So you can create sort of a matrix of different products, which gives you a very strong offering to people, which probably no one else is thinking of in your industry at the moment. What's your next level?
Well, upselling in this case would be if they do the kitchen
Yep.
and they say, well, in a 6 months time I'm thinking of doing the bathroom. Well, if you go ahead with us, we can actually help.
What's the life of a splashback in a kitchen?
20 years and more.
20 years.
Well, no, that's what how when people
Yep.
renovate again, 12, 15,
Okay.
years.
So, you know, you can make, is there can you bring in a program where you'll come round once a year just to make sure everything's okay? You'll do a follow-up maintenance check on the splashback to make sure everything's okay. Nothing wrong with your product, but maybe it's the wall behind them that you need to check. Just think about it, okay? There should be a logical next step for you to stay in touch with your clients. Do you see how this works? Do people get an idea? You're feeling comfortable with it? Okay, so I think that's probably about the end of my time. So I'll just take any questions if anyone's got any questions on it. This is, like I say, bare bones. Yeah, Matt?
You mentioned the 7 touches.
Yep.
Is there like a recommended formula for what type of touches they would be?
So the funny thing that Google found was you just got to touch people 7 times. And, you know, and I don't necessarily mean physically touch them, but just touch them 7 times. Yeah. Yeah, that would still 7 touches, but
Should there be a balance between different mediums?
touching people the same way 7 times rarely works. So touching people 7 times through different media works. So that might be, touch point is I got your brochure in the letterbox, 1 touch point. There was a follow-up phone call, that's 2. I sent you an email, I've got a website where you can watch things. It's about setting things up so people can get those 7 touch points with your business across a spectrum of things. By all means, yeah, don't ring someone 7 times if they're saying no, because, you know, not only will they get annoyed at you, they're going to tell everyone else. They're going to tell everyone they know that don't deal with this guy because he rings you up. And then he'll report you to the telecommunication industry ombudsman, and then you have all sorts of shit. So you don't want to go down that track. All right. So 7 touch points by all means, but try and spread them. But it can be, now real estate agents, good real estate agents are really good at it. They will walk the street, they'll put those things in, just sold, those little brochures in there, and they'll follow them up with a phone call, or 3 weeks later they'll come in and say, you know, property up the street sold. If they've actually sold something in a street, they'll flood the area with it. So a lot of their touch point is literally from that. Then they've got newspaper advertising, and then they're online and domain. So there's 3 or 4 touch points just like that. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.